Narcan saves lives. Narcan has saved my own life.
Everyone should be carrying Narcan. It reverses an opioid overdose.
It's easy to get. It's almost at any pharmacy. You don't have to be 18, and you don't need a prescription.
It is saving lives every single day.
Hello, my lean and lit lovelies. I'm Lindy, the host of your new favorite podcast, Get Lean and Lit with Lindy, where we talk about strategies and habits for women over 40 to stay and get and stay lean and to just live their lives to the best of their ability. Today, I'm going to focus on muscle. But before we get into the ins and outs of muscle, let's talk about the difference between fat loss and weight loss, because I think a lot of people just kind of use them interchangeably, but they're very, very different. And both of those terms have a big impact on muscle. So let's talk about that first. So weight loss is a decrease in overall body weight measured by the scale. So it's muscle, it's fat, it's water, it's everything that can change in your body that's measured by a scale, just a number. Whereas fat loss is a very specific reduction in body fat. And that's what we want. We want fat loss, not just generic weight loss. Fat loss leads to a decrease of chronic diseases like obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, for example, cancer. So it's really important to kind of have a understanding of those two different terminologies and which one you're targeting. So we're targeting fat loss just as we move throughout our lives as women over the age of 40. Unfortunately, society has kind of brainwashed us a little bit to put a heavy emphasis on scale weight. At the end of the day, it's not about scale weight, because the scale cannot tell you how much muscle you have on your body. And the society is always kind of telling us, get lower, get a lower weight on your scale, wake up and weigh yourself and weigh the lowest you can weigh. And that type of messaging, which is really very negative, and it's not what it's all about. Today, we're going to be talking about muscle, and muscle can make you weigh a little bit more. If you do it right, if you add muscle to your frame, you are going to weigh a little bit more in some instances. So let's disassociate the scale from what we're really talking about, from health. Starting at the age of 30, women lose between 3 and 5% of muscle mass every decade. So if you're not actively working to hold on to the muscle that you have and to increase that muscle, to build some new muscle, you're losing muscle over time. So much so that by the age of 70, you could have lost 30% of your muscle mass from when you were a younger person. And that is not good at all. Muscle is critical not only to appearance, but it contributes significantly to your overall health. So I want to really spend some time today talking about muscle, the importance of muscle. How do we build muscle? How do we keep muscle? That's where I want to go with our podcast today. So let's start with the benefits of muscle. There's several benefits to having muscle on your body. The number one is improved metabolism, which leads to better and easier weight management. So the more muscle you have on your body, the easier it is to lose fat and to not put fat on. So if you're worried about your weight, if you're worried about your appearance, muscle is what's going to make the difference. Muscle leads to better heart and bone health. Muscle allows you to have better balance and functional fitness. So you can go through life carrying your groceries, lifting up a suitcase onto the airplane storage area. It helps you to have better functional fitness. Muscle leads to a reduction of the chance that you would get an chronic disease like diabetes or type 2 diabetes specifically, or high cholesterol or some heart disease. Muscle releases mood enhancing endorphins. So muscle can having more muscle on your body, believe it or not, can help your mental health and put you in better mood. And lastly, muscle leads to a stronger immune system. So you're just healthier overall. So what causes muscle loss? Well, as I said earlier, as we age, you're going to lose muscle. If you don't do anything to actively hold on to your muscle or increase your muscle, you're going to lose muscle just through the fact of aging. Inactivity, being sedentary, sitting at a desk all day, lounging around watching Netflix on your couch all day, that leads to muscle loss because you're not using your muscles at all. Nutrition, not eating enough protein, which is the building block of muscle, that allows you to lose muscle as well. As we age, hormonal changes lead to muscle loss. That's just something natural that happens as we age. Disease and genetics. So those things play into muscle loss. Building muscle, though, should be our number one goal. Like I said, holding on to what you have and building new muscle is a continuous process. You have to continue to do it or your muscles will deteriorate over time. So it's critical, and I can't emphasize it enough, that you have to treat muscle mass like just a commodity that is precious, like a diamond, like money, something that you really, really value because it's that important to your skeletal system to have muscle on it. Okay, so we know what muscle is, why it's important, how you lose it. What are the top 5 ways to maintain and build muscle? Just straightforward, nothing tricky. It's really not that hard, but you have to commit to that something that you want to do. It has to be something that's important to you. The number 1 way is to focus on consuming protein. Protein is the building block of muscles. Muscle loves protein. So in order to keep the muscle that you already have and build new muscle, you have to have enough protein every single day that allows your body to process it and to incorporate it into muscle. So for most people, enough protein is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 150 pounds, your goal should be to eat 150 grams of protein per day, spread out over 3 solid meals and 1 to 2 snacks in a given day. So protein. That's number 1. Number 2 is strength training. So whether it's your body weight, whether you're lifting dumbbells, barbells, exercise bands, however you want to approach it, strength training. You have to challenge your muscles in order for your muscles to want to stick around. If you're not using your muscles, you're going to lose it. It's just that simple. Number 3 is weighing and tracking your food. Now, this is critical because number 1, eat protein. If you're not tracking your protein on a daily basis, you don't know if you're consistently hitting your goal or not. So tracking protein and making sure you have good healthy sources of protein, that's really important. Number 4, focus mainly on eating whole foods, minimizing processed foods. So my husband always jokes and says, I make him eat water and grass. Really? That's kind of how he characterizes the way that I eat and the way that I cook. And we've been married for almost 30 years, so he should be used to it by now. If it is water and grass, it's better than water and grass, in my opinion. It's more like asparagus, broccoli, and water. So it's a little bit better. But I usually live by the 80-20 rule. And I tell people that that's more sustainable because you really want to have habits that are sustainable. You don't want to just throw something in and you can't really keep up with it. You do it for a week and then you're back to old bad habits the next week. Do things that are sustainable for you and make it work for your lifestyle. So when I say the 80-20 rule, that means 80% of the time I'm eating whole foods, healthy, multiple servings of vegetables, clean carbs, that sort of thing, lots of protein. And then 20% of the time I can treat myself. I can go and get ice cream, or I can eat some chips, or whatever it is. You just don't want to do that as your main source of fuel. And number 5 is supplementation. I'm going to do a separate podcast on supplementation, because that's a huge category in and of itself in terms of health. But the 2 main things that I take for supplementation in order to maintain and build muscle, number 1 is protein powder. I have all types of protein powders that I incorporate in my meal planning for the day. And number 2 is creatine, which is a substance that, if taken daily, it helps preserve and build muscle mass. And it also has a lot of mental health benefits as well, in terms of just keeping your mood elevated, keeping your brain clear of brain fog, things like that. So we're going to talk in the future on another podcast about supplementation. But for now, focus on protein powder and creatine on a daily basis. So having laid that groundwork, I want to say the simplest habit to adopt in terms of meals and in terms of eating your meals and your snacks and making sure that they're protein heavy is to center your meals and snacks around protein. So for example, when you wake up in the morning, and if you eat breakfast, if you're not fasting, if you eat breakfast, you want to start with something that's protein heavy, such as eggs, or maybe turkey sausage, or Greek yogurt. So it keeps your blood glucose levels more stable. You don't want to come in with like a bagel or donuts or cereal, because that's going to spike up your blood glucose levels, and that's going to crash later, and you're going to be hungrier for things that have sugar in them. So you want to start with protein and make sure that you have a healthy protein source for every meal. Most people I know, especially women, don't eat enough protein. They just don't. Women tend to I don't want to sound like I'm sexist or anything, but it seems like women tend to like to eat carbs a lot more than protein. So I'm not saying you have to go out and eat a steak every day, but you have to incorporate enough protein so that the muscles that you do have on your body hangs around. And then when you're trying to build new muscle through strength training, you have those building blocks to make that happen. So some of the good sources of protein that you can look into, depending on your own tastes, cottage cheese is high in protein. Like I said, eggs and egg whites can be mixed together. You don't have to, some people have high cholesterol, so you don't want to just have a ton of eggs. Egg whites is a very good source of protein. Tuna fish, any type of fish. If you're vegan or vegetarian, there's tempeh, there's tofu, chicken. There's so many different ways you can get your protein in, but it has to be at the top of your mind when you're preparing a meal or when you're preparing a snack. Is really critical. Start with whatever the protein is first, and then build your plate around that. That will guarantee that you can get the number of protein grams that you need in a given day. So if you know that you're somebody that's not eating enough protein, let's say you weigh 150 pounds and you know you're not eating 150 grams of protein a day, one thing you can do is, instead of just jumping from wherever you are straight up to 150, you can shoot for 100 grams of protein in a given day. That's a good target to be at when you're starting to really focus on protein, because you don't want to just shock your system or do something, like I said, that's not sustainable. Work your way to what you need to be at. But 100 grams is a good starting point for most people. And then you can continue to increase from there depending on your weight. Now, what I use to track my protein, and really to track all of my macronutrients and micronutrients, is an app called Lose It. So I'm not sponsored or anything. I love Lose It. It's very user-friendly. I used to use MyFitnessPal back in the day. That's a good one as well. And Chronometer is also a good one. So there's lots of free apps out there that you can use to track. I personally like the Lose It interface, because I've gotten used to it, and I basically have stored all my recipes in there over time. And this is very simple and easy to use. So if you haven't checked that out, maybe check it out. Or you can use a pen and paper. It doesn't have to be an app or something fancy. for you to keep track of your protein. But that's the point. Keep track of your protein. And if you do it for a few weeks, and if tracking is not something you want to continue for the rest of your life, I think that's okay. But you have to know what serving sizes are of protein and be able to calculate that over a 24-hour period. That's really the goal. So I want to talk a little bit about strength training too, since that's the other way that you're going to hang on to the muscle and build new muscle. So I think in popular society, strength training has just taken on a life of its own. But on my podcast, I want to keep things simple because that's how I live my life, is just direct and straightforward, keeping things as simple as possible and forming habits that I can stick to. So strength training, you don't really need to spend hours and hours in the gym. You can strength train at home, really, or outside, or if you do like the gym, that's great, but you don't have to necessarily have a gym membership to strength train. You can strength train with your body weight. You can strength train with exercise bands. You can strength train with dumbbells, barbells. There's plenty of different opportunities for you to hang on to the muscle and build new muscle through strength training. You really need to set up a routine, like make sure you have a certain number of days a week. I recommend 2 to 3 days a week. Set aside 20 minutes to do strength training. And the most efficient and effective way to strength train is doing compound lifts. So when I say compound lifts, what I mean is doing exercises that use a lot of muscles at one time, like a squat uses a lot of different muscles, or a bench press uses a lot of different muscles. Bent over row uses a lot of different muscles, as opposed to like a bicep curl, which just uses a bicep. So you want to use those compound moves that use a lot of muscles. That's the most efficient and effective way to strength train. And if you've not used to strength training at all, start with body weight and then work your way up and use different tools over time. If you're an experienced strength trainer, is that a term, experienced strength trainer? If you're somebody who has experience with strength training, you can always add something to increase the challenge, because at the end of the day, your muscles need to be challenged to know that your body needs the muscle and for it to hang around. That's a signal for the muscle not to leave, because you're needing it to get stronger because you're challenging yourself with strength training. So for example, you can increase the weight for strength training. You can increase the repetitions that you're doing. You can go very slow, which increases time under tension. You can do some of your workouts with body weight, some of them with dumbbells. I mean, there's so many different ways you can mix up your routine and challenge your body. That is the point though. The point is to challenge your body. So what challenges me may not challenge you, and vice versa. So you have to figure out your starting point, again, track it, and then over time, increase the challenge. So it's called progressive resistance. So continue to challenge yourself over time. And that signals to your body, again, that you need to hang on to the muscles that you have, and you need to build new muscles to meet the challenge. So there's so much we can talk about with this, but I wanted to give an overview on muscle, because muscle really is the foundation of the fountain of youth, number one, and it's the foundation of being the healthiest that you can be. So you should definitely focus on maintaining and building muscle. All right. Well, my lean and lit lovelies, that's it for now. Stay committed to improving your health one habit at a time. And until next week, remember to show immense gratitude for all that you already have, and look forward to what's to come with energy and with passion.
Hey, it's Shaletta. I'm here at Xfinity Mobile getting a new phone for my teenager. Great plans, reliable coverage, perfect for our family. Now my teen enjoys fast speeds to stay connected no matter where the day goes. Plus, get an extra line free for a year. Y'all better switch to Xfinity Mobile today.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.